So, all right, Jess, now that we've decided that we're going to focus on school and the anxiety and these sorts of things, I want to get some more specific information from you. And generally what I like to do is kind of run through a small checklist just to make sure that we're talking about everything that could be important. So if you don't mind, we could just go by these things one by one, and I'll explain to you what I'm trying to understand, and then you just tell me anything you feel is important about that. All right? Okay. So first, I want to know how your affective symptoms are, and what that means is it's all the emotional stuff, which you've already talked about, the anxiety and the jitters and things like that. So, when talking about the anxiety in particular, can you just tell me about it?
Well, when I walk into class, I get really nervous. I get like shaken, like confused somewhat. I get embarrassed, even though they may not know that I'm embarrassed. I feel as though they know I'm embarrassed already.
Mm-hmm.
So then I get angry at myself because I can't control it.
Okay.
And then I get upset because I can't take a test even though I've studied for it.
So it's just all these feelings all at once. Okay. Wow. All right. So how about the anger at yourself? How big of it all would you say that is? Like, does it? I mean, do you feel just anxiety, and the anger is kind of an afterthought? What role does it play?
When I first step into the classroom, it's kind of like a blackout. Like, I get so nervous I can't think. And I get really anxious, I start to sweat, and then after I walk out or when I go home and I'm remembering how the day went, I get really angry at myself that I couldn't control it because I know I can do well, I know I can be a good student, but I'm letting this little thing get in my way, and I should be bigger than that.
So, when it comes to your emotions, I'm starting to hear like this pattern. So at first, you are wanting to do better, you're studying, you're doing what you previously were able to do, you're very good at, but then you approach the classroom, and you get nervous, you get jittery, you get tense, you get that sense of doom that you talk about. And then after you leave, you feel angry and almost like you had wasted effort studying. Would you say that kind of those ups and downs are pretty consistent? Like, is there always that pattern?
For the most part. It's every time I do it, it's usually the same thing. It's what I call my freak out mode. So I get anxious and scared and nervous, and then once I know no one's around me and I'm by myself, then I get mad.
All right. Does the anxiety last only while you're in the classroom?
Yes.
And how long after you get home, say after a test, does the anger last?
I'm usually pretty mad about it all night.
Okay.
Unless I've tried to do stress relieving things like watch my favorite movie or go for a walk, but it's like I can't get the thought out of my mind.
Okay. Well, that actually leads us very nicely into something else on my little checklist, which is kind of the cognitive aspect of what you're experiencing. And this has all to do with how you're thinking and the kind of thoughts that really bother you and that you're turning over in your head over and over. So, You said that you feel angry, and all through the night, even though you're trying to do other things, you're still thinking about it. So can you unpack kind of what's going on with your head at that point?
I feel like I wasted my time. I know I'm a good student. I always have been. And I know I can still be a good student, but I let stupid things get in my way. Like, I study all night. I know the answers. I know what I'm doing, but I get there and I let what I think people are going to think of me get in my way. So then I get frustrated.
And I understand why, too, especially I know that you work very hard for these exams, and then in the past you've been able to pull it off. So, all right, what exactly are the stupid things that are holding you back?
Just caring about what people are going to think of me if I get things right or wrong. I've never been like that. I've always been independent, doing well in school, confident. I second guess myself all of the time.
All right. So these things seem trivial because they used to be trivial, but these days they don't seem that way.
Right. These things I never would have thought twice about.
Okay.
Until this year. I don't know what's going on, but it just seems to all unload on my shoulders.
Okay. So then there's definitely a big difference in the way that you're thinking then.
I would say so.
All right. So is there anything else that whether or not they're stupid, are there anything that you think about other than kind of the anger and the frustration?
When I'm in the class?
Whenever.
Well, when I'm in the class, I'm nervous. I don't even remember what I think most of the time. It's like, I just zone out.
Okay. So would you say your thinking in the class and your thinking outside of the class is very different?
Yes.
Okay. And just so I make sure, how are they different?
I don't think in class, but I can understand everything outside of class.
Okay.
It's like my brain shuts down when I walk through that door.
And then when you leave, along with the emotional, you're just turning everything over that has happened. Okay. Well, I think that does it about that. So, is there anything else with your thoughts or your feelings that you feel like I need to know that we haven't touched on?
I think I pretty much looked at everything.
Okay, well then let's move on to the next little thing, and that is your somatic symptoms. And that has to do with your body and what your body's doing. So like the shaking that you mentioned, anything having to do with your heart, sweating, we'll go ahead and put sleep in this category, anything like that. So, wait, first of all, is that description clear?
Yes.
All right. So just tell me what's going on with your body. What are all of it?
Well, when I'm at home, I'm normal, I'm fine, calm and collected. But when I walk into that classroom, my hands start to sweat. I start to sweat. My heart starts racing. My mouth gets dry. I can't speak. I can't think. I don't know. It's just called my freak out mode. Everything's like so fast, but yet I feel like it's in slow motion.
Okay. Is there any, do you feel tired ever?
Sometimes, I mean, when I'm home, I'm okay, so usually I can sleep pretty well.
Okay.
It's after I get up, but it is draining when I'm in class. I kind of do feel like emotionally and physically drained when I leave.
Okay.
Like it takes all of my energy.
I see. would you say, do you ever feel achy almost?
I wouldn't say achy.
Not achy, okay. I'm trying to think what else. And you think as far as what's going on with your body, is there anything else?
Pretty much it.
Okay. Well, we'll probably just check that one off even. From there, okay. How about we touch now on changes in your behavior, which that's just anything that you do in your day-to-day life, or if your habits have changed. I'd like to hear about it. Is that clear?
I think so.
Okay.
I'll try for it.
Okay, just tell me about your behavior.
I mean, I do the same things I do every day. I live at home, I wake up, feed my cat, eat some breakfast.
So you get a routine.
Go to school, freak out, come home, be mad. And then I usually try to unwind, and then I study. And then I usually end up falling asleep.
Okay. It would help me out too, and I think, well, it might help both of us. Is there any big difference between your behavior these days and before you started having these problems?
I'd say, yeah. I mean, I sleep less. I mean, I don't see it as a big difference, but I mean, I do sleep less, and I have lost a little bit of weight. But I mean, I still go out sometimes. Maybe not as much as I used to, but I still try to make it out there. But that's I think it's almost the same.
Okay.
Little things have changed.
Little things. So it's just the amount of time that you spend going out. You sleep a little less, but overall, pretty stable. Do you take any medications at all?
No. Just whenever I got sick, like antibiotics or like Tylenol and stuff like that.
But no long-term regimen?
No.
Okay.
Vitamins. That's the only thing I take every day.
Oh, good. Let's see. Are you, and everything is confidential, but I want to make sure that I hit everything. Do you do any sort of drugs?
Not anymore. I mean, I've tried them in high school. Everybody tried them.
Okay.
But it was just like a once or twice type deal.
All right. What were you trying back in high school?
I tried 5.
Okay.
That was it. I didn't get into anything else that kind of scared me.
I know some people are a little apprehensive about it, so. But let's see. When you say you don't do it, you haven't done anything hard. And just to double check, I mean, your suicidal thoughts, do you feel really sad at all?
I mean, I get sad sometimes, but it's nothing like I would ever think of doing that.
Okay. And just going back to the behavior, you say it's pretty consistent. Nothing's really changed that much. It's just a little less.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've only got 2 more things left, so we're almost done with this little bit. Now, one thing that I like to look at is the context of, when people are starting to hit a rough patch. And for you, we've already talked about it. It's school, it's the testing, it's you don't know what you're going to do with your future. Is there anything else that kind of coincides with this, with your anxiety, or would you say it's just school?
It's just school. When I'm home, I'm fine.
And I think that's a very important detail that it comes on when you're physically at school, too. So, thanks for giving me that. It's a
I
good
mean,
detail.
I've taken online classes before too, and I've been fine.
Really?
Yes.
Thank you for telling me that. Last one, relational. How's your friendships doing? Any significant others? Has your family?
Mm-hmm.
And keep in mind, I'm trying to see if from in the past, if it's changed.
Me and my family are the same. I mean, I'm completely comfortable around them, so I don't think I've ever been nervous around my family.
Okay.
Friends, I mean, a little bit. Like, I mean, but I just attribute that to us getting older. I mean, people change.
Mhm.
People move on, they get families, they get married, stuff like that. But, no real big differences.
All right.
I have a boyfriend now. We've been dating for about a year.
Oh, that's
So,
good.
yeah, and I mean, he's seen some changes, he said, because I look like a little more stressed than I used to be, because he knew school used to be really easy for me. Like, it just came natural, and now, it's difficult.
Okay. And quick question, what are some things that you've been doing to kind of help cope with this? I know earlier you mentioned like you'll try to go on walks. Is there anything else you do?
I mean, when I'm home, I'm fine, so I try to practice my presentations in the mirror, or, you know, with my boyfriend, and things like that, and I do fine. But when I go to class, it's still horrible. I mean, I've tried and tried, and it never seemed to work.
Okay. And so going on walks, do you take time to relax when you're at home?
I try. I try to watch like a favorite movie or listen to some music. Take a bubble bath.
Handle it.
Sometimes.
That's wonderful. All right.